Picture this. You're in your first period classroom and you lose your phone. You have a big test to write the next period, but with no luck in finding your phone, you go write that test. Now while you're writing that test, there's an outburst of thoughts in your mind, mostly focusing on your phone. Will my dad buy me a new phone? What am I going to do if I don't get my phone back? So that period of an hour goes by, you open up your bag, you open up your binder, there it is, your phone, right in the middle of your binder. This was me last semester, and this was my phone involved in that incident. But that wasn't the only case with me. We're all guilty of this. We're all guilty of that moment when we go, I can't feel my phone. It is at that moment we feel insecure. We feel like a part of us has been snatched away from us. Why is that? Because we've allowed these smartphones to become such a big part of our lives. Humans have progressed so much in life. Especially in the past few years, we have entered this age of technology and development that has hit its growth spurt and is growing faster than ever. Simple tasks like walking with a Fitbit, more complex, like Tesla launching roadsters into outer space, involve technology. Something no stranger to my ears. Look at these metal bricks. These metal bricks went from making simple phone calls to becoming magnificent sources of information that also work as cameras and also work as video game consoles for games like Fortnite. While all of that is great, there is another side to this technology that is unseen. Now, I'm not talking about the social media distractions or the loss of social life due to our smartphones. I'm talking about something much greater than that. Something we simply don't see because we're too busy looking down at our phones, or because of human nature's tendency to find flaws in everything. I'm talking about the revolution technology is bringing into our lives apart from our smartphone. And not here in the developed nations, but more importantly, in developing nations. Let me talk about something we're all a little more familiar with first. A reason we're all here together. Education. Technology in education is unquestionably one of the largest debated subjects. Yes, social media does cause distractions in a child's brain, but that does not mean technology does. Technology in education has enabled us to achieve more in terms of a student's level of participation, motivation, confidence, and resourcefulness. I'm a grade 11, 16-year-old student. I attend this school, and I can confirm this through my personal experience. Now, don't get me wrong. Technology does have its downsides, and we often question social media. However, technology and social media are different. When it comes to social media, factors like parenting, accessibility, and responsibility play a major role, not technology. Technology has enhanced education here in the developed nations, but it has changed or transformed the meaning of education in developing nations. Young people across the world living in rural areas are adopting technology in their education in search of a better life. UNICEF found that 40% of rural children living in Vietnam use the internet for learning purposes. A study conducted by Harvard and MIT found that mobile phone aided teaching and helped boost student learning in rural areas. So a group of software engineers came up with this BRCK Kio kit, a kit designed for children living in the most remote areas of Africa to have access to good education. This kit included 40 rugged tablets with wireless charging, headphones, and a secure transportation case. I myself am proud of being connected to an organization known as AFO, This organization has set up over 68,000 one-teacher schools across India, and with more female students than male, this organization is able to empower a neglected and unreachable society. Now, what this technology does by using information technology is it sets up computers and internet in moving vans. These vans travel to all these one-teacher schools in tribal India to provide children with essential computer education and to help them see the world around them through a different lens. So, technology in education is enabling us to destroy the roots of poverty. Benjamin Franklin once said, "An investment in knowledge pays the best interest." Like cars need gas, plants need water, phones need electricity, humans need food. Food comes from farmers, yet agriculture is one of the most undermined sectors of modern society, but it plays the largest role in keeping us running. This is now changing. With accessibility to cloud computing and farming technologies, entrepreneurs are able to reach out to these farmers to help them provide low-cost solutions to increase farm productivity. Some examples include aerial images, which are able to help these farmers manage crop growth in real time. Solar-powered irrigation is taking place to help pump water. Farmers that are traditionally out of reach are now receiving farming advice and weather forecasts via SMS. So I took a recent trip to India last year, my hometown. I went to my grandparents' village, and I saw farms and farmers too. Not surprising, more than 3/4 of India's population is employed as farmers. But what was surprising here is that most of these farmers were living in very poor conditions. These farmers didn't have proper clothes, didn't have proper houses. Their fields were sometimes destroyed because of flooding. I wondered what was the cause. They did not have information. Their goods were not being sold at the proper prices that they should have. I went home that night. I looked down at my meal, and it was really saddening to know that the food on my plate was because of those farmers, and those farmers themselves don't have a meal on their plates. This is when the Prime Minister introduced the National Agriculture Market. This opened up an online database where these farmers can view commodity prices, arrivals, etc., and farmers and traders can collaboratively bid, trade, and buy commodities. Technology has also reached a milestone in the form of identity. I know this sounds strange at first, identity. Before 2009, over half of India's population did not have any form of an identity. Imagine driving a car, opening up a bank account, getting an education, applying for a mortgage without an identity. Impossible, right? Not having an identity would also mean not paying any taxes, thus slowing down the country's growth. This is why Agar was launched. A program, an online database based on 12 digits authenticated by retina scans and fingerprint scans. That number, 50%, fell right down 5% within a span of 7 years. Now over 95% of India's population has a legal form of identity, making Aadhaar one of the most successful IT projects ever undertaken in the history of technology. Through technology, we are able to help these developing nations move on from that developing phase to the developed phase. Auto means self, and mobile means moving. Our cars today are definitely mobile. But are they auto? No, they're not. So have we achieved the true sense of an automobile? No, we haven't. But we have, in these past couple of years, with the self-driving, or the so-called autonomous cars. But these self-driving cars have achieved the true sense of an automobile. Now here are some facts for you. Over 1.25 million people die in motor vehicle accidents each year. An average Canadian spends 79 hours in traffic each year, or 3 days. I'm sure some of you would relate to that. An average person living in China spends 3 times that amount in traffic each year. As Thomas Alva Edison said, there is a way to do it better. Find it. It is our responsibility to decrease those numbers. With the help of self-driving cars, we can do so. We can decrease those numbers right down to 0. Now, it's really, really sad to see how many lives are lost in motor vehicle accidents each year. What if the truck or the bus involved in last week's Humboldt accident were autonomous? We would have avoided a nationwide heartbreak. It's truly, truly a moment to think. I'm sure a lot of you are parents here, parents with young children who have really hit the road soon or are going to hit the road. I'm sure you're always worried about their safety. I myself have recently started driving, and let me tell you this. Driving a car is not rocket science. It's pretty simple. But due to casualty rates and unenforced errors, it sure seems like an extreme sport. 2 years ago, my dad was involved in a car accident on our local friendly 401. So a couple of cars in front of him just happened to slow down and stop suddenly. We all know those situations, those emergency stops. So my dad had to slam the brakes or slow down. And the driver behind my dad, a distracted driver, wasn't paying attention and rear-ended my dad. And my dad hit the driver in front. After this accident, my dad made a wise decision. He bought a car with the autonomous emergency braking system. My dad comes home 2 days ago. He tells me he was in that same situation where he didn't see anything coming. Cars in front of him suddenly started to slow down or stop. And I'm sure a lot of you would relate to that. And this system was able to predict that time ago, helping inform my dad to slow down, in turn, avoiding a collision. But after all that, we still think, how do we trust these machines? How do we know they're going to keep us safe? Look at this image over here. What you're seeing on the bottom right is what the human eye sees. What you're seeing in the bigger picture is what a self-driving car sees. The self-driving car is calculating speed, distance to every object on the road. It is analyzing signs, and it is sending that information to that computer, which processes that information and makes the right decision within a matter of a few seconds. Now don't get me wrong, the human eye and the human brain are also great features of the human body, but they are still incapable of doing that. So we need to come together, help introduce these self-driving cars on our road. These self-driving cars are not going to come on our roads overnight, but we need to start somewhere. We need to encourage these cars. Now I've talked about agriculture, I've talked about education, I've talked about identity, and I've also talked about these self-driving cars. And you're probably like, Anmol, where are you going to draw the line here? That's too much, man. If you already haven't figured out, all of these things are connected by technology. With technology and education, we're able to understand fields like agriculture, biometric databases. With technology and agriculture, we're able to open up more jobs in the field of agriculture and farming, which is a very quickly depleting occupation. With technology and cars, we're able to help the agricultural industry by developing self-driving tractors, which can help farmers in a huge way. Technology is like metal. I know it sounds strange, but think of this. Metal is used in large-scale destruction weapons, ranging from knives, guns, tanks, missiles, and so on. But it is a basic material that we use in our day-to-day lives. It's in our phones, it's in our clothes, it's in our cars, it's in our homes. We use it all the time. Technology kind of works on this same way. It does have a lot of downsides, it does have a lot of disadvantages, but through proper education and responsibility, we need to work around those to make the best possible use of this technology. My favorite line from President John F. Kennedy's inaugural speech is, "Let both sides seek to invoke the wonders of science instead of its terrors." This line is the precise solution to the current dilemma, whether technology, simply put, is good or bad. If we look up from our phones and look at everything else technology is doing for us, we can realize the true potential it holds, and with a little teamwork in changing the way we think about technology, we can help make lives better and save many more. Thank you.